Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me, hi, my name is Jackie. I sit on the floor and I talk about my books. So I really hope that's why you're here, because that's what's gonna happen. If you're not new to me, thanks for coming back. Thanks for the support. I'm glad that I am still having a blast doing this, and I'm really, really happy you're back, and I hope you're happy to have me back. But today's video is all about my 2022 TBR. These are all the books that I want to get to in this coming year. It's coming to you a little bit late because I really wanted to focus on the books that were actually books that I really wanted to read. So I walked in from my shelves, picked up books, looked at them, put them back down for pretty much the entirety of the month. And then finally, I've narrowed it down to about 10 books that I really want to make sure I read this year for multiple different reasons. But the main reason overlapping on all of them is I just want to fucking read the book. I'm tired of it sitting on my shelf and glaring at me and making me feel guilty because I haven't read it. So that's why they're on this list. So we're going to jump right in and get started so you can see what I plan on reading this year. So the first one I have here, and these are in no particular order of how I'm going to read them, importance, just happen to be how they fall, is Roberto Bologna's 26666. So I had this book, I've had this book for, I want to say 5 or 6 years. I discovered it on Cliff Sargent's Better Than Food book reviews. He spoke very highly about the book, and that guy, when he reviews books, even if they suck, you still want to read them, because just the way he talks about the book, it's just like, it sucked that bad? Really? I'm gonna read just to find out. And if it was that fantastic, you're just like, wow, I have to read this book. It's just, he's got a way with his reviews. It's kind of creepy. But that's what got me turned on to this book. And it's just been sitting on my shelf, and I've never gotten around to reading it. And I don't really know much about the book, but I do know that it's there's multiple people that seemingly have nothing to do with each other. They're not connected in any way, shape, or form, and they're all going to the border of Santa Teresa, the border city of Santa Teresa, and it spans an entire decade of these people's lives. Except there's this weird thing about the border of Santa Teresa. Hundreds of women have just been going missing. And I don't know how that ties in with all these people's stories. I don't know if it's a thriller. I don't know if it's a mystery. I really have no idea. And truth be told, I feel like it's one of those books you might want to go blind in, because, I mean, the title is 2666. 2666, 2666. I don't know exactly how to say the title. So I kind of want to know what the title's about too. So this will be the year that I get to this. Now, this is a chunker. This is one of the bigger ones. This one clocks in at 898 pages. So we're starting off great. Nice. So, yay. However, it did win the National Book Critics Circle Award, so it can't be awful if it won an award. At least that's the last time I read a book that won an award, it was fantastic. So let's hope I'm batting 1,000 on this. The next book I have on my list is Emily Duncan's Wicked Saints. This book has been on my radar for about 2 to 3 years, and it is a YA fantasy. And what I know about this book is that there are 3 people involved in a war where there's magic, and there's the dichotomy of good and evil focused on it, and I just find that fascinating. I love dichotomy of good and evil. I love the duality of it. I love the interpretation of it. I love books that make you think. So I'm hoping that this will be like that. But also, I was very drawn to the cover art on this book. I like the way this book looks. It's just one of those books that I was like, this is just a very well done cover. And I love the cityscape that you see here. It reminds me of Russia. I have no idea if it has anything to do with Russia, but it reminds me of it. So I'm pretty pumped about it. And it is the first book in a trilogy. I don't remember what the trilogy's name is. I do not remember what the actual series name is. But the whole series has been complete. So if I like it, I can marathon the rest of the series and enjoy myself. So, Wicked Saints. The next book I have here is the only classic that is on this list. Now, I do have my classics challenge where I'm reading one classic book a month. And I'm hoping that one month I'll be able to fit this one on there. So I'm not reading 2 classics in a month because, well, this one's huge. It is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I have been wanting to read this book since probably the 7th grade. And I'm 34. So, long time ago. 7th grade is the first time I really started listening to the soundtrack. Les Miserables is one of my favorite operas. It probably is my favorite. I know all the songs by heart. I know the story of the opera, and I love it. I love everything about it. I love the pain. I love the happiness. I love the sorrow. I love everything about that opera. Everything. I love the story that's being told, the music. So I really, really, really want to love this book. I really want to love it. Downside to this book is this is not the first time I've attempted to read this book. This is like the 15th time I've attempted to read this book because I get to the section where Victor Hugo decides to describe in very great detail the French sewer system. And I just hate my life at that moment. I hate it. And I never can seem to get past it. There are too many other books that I want to read to waste my time on 40 pages of sewer system. Okay? But I really want to read this book. So I have this fight in me and I don't really know how to handle it. So I'm hoping that 2022 will be the year that I finally climb this mountain and reach the top and say, I fucking read Les Mis. And I really hope I could say I liked it. So, another chunker on this list. Actually, I do have quite some chunkers on this list. So another reason probably they're on there is because they intimidate the crap out of me. This edition, however, clocks in at 908 pages. 908. And I just want to point something out. Look how tiny this font is. Look, see how tiny that is? This is some tiny ass font. So, yeah. Gonna be kind of a commitment when it comes time for this one. So, yay me. That's why there's only one classic on this list. Another book I want to get to, and I've had on my shelf for quite a long time, and I'm kind of annoyed with myself that I haven't read this yet because it's super popular. This author is said to be one of the best historical fiction authors out there, and that is Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. This is a book based in France in World War II, I believe about a nurse. This book was popular years ago on YouTube. Everyone was reading it, and I only heard rave reviews about it. I never heard anything negative about it at all. And I'm kind of annoyed that I haven't read this book yet, but that's why it's on the list. And also this book was one of my favorite covers out of all the books I own, it's one of my favorites. I love this cover, and I still do to this day love this cover. So I'm annoyed that I haven't read this, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited that I finally am deciding to read it and find out what this story is about. And hopefully Kristen Hanna will become a new favorite author because I've been told that her books are amazing. If you like historical fiction, you will love her books. And there's a couple other books that look really interesting to me that I really like to read, but I want to read this one first because I happen to own this one. I don't own any of the others. So, Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale on the list. The next book is actually a book that I just bought this month, but it has been on my radar for a long time. It's been in my Amazon cart, out of my Amazon cart, in my Amazon cart, out of my Amazon. I keep putting in, taking out, putting in, taking out, because I keep changing my mind. And so I finally said, screw it, I'm buying it. And that is R.F. Kuang's The Poppy War. I have heard amazing things about this book. I have never heard a negative comment on this book from the booktubers that I watch and that I respect. They all rave about this and they say it's phenomenal. I'm not 100% sure about what the story is. I just know it's about this girl, and she has to like fight in this war, and she's the only one that can really do it. So, I mean, it's not a great synopsis of the book. I'll just be honest with you. It's not a great synopsis, but this is literally on the list because I have heard so many people talk about it and I just want to know what it's about. I want to know. So I bought it and I put it on this list so I actually get to it. And again, this is another first in a series. This one is not that long, believe it or not. I believe the other ones in the series are a lot longer. Yeah, this is only 530 pages, and the Kristen Hanna book was 440. So I've got some tiny ones on there as well now. So that's nice. But Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And I know R.F. Kuang just actually came out with a new book. I don't know if it's the start of a new series or it's a standalone, but she just came out with a new one that is getting rave reviews as well. So I want to finally give it a shot. Another book that has gotten some kind of, it's gotten a resurgence because of a television show that started last year, I think is when it premiered. And that is the Wheel of Time series, Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time series. I had never even heard of the Wheel of Time. Never even heard of it until I started seeing previews for this series and I found out that it was this massive book series and it's famous. And I'm like, wow, I live under a rock. I've never even heard of this. And I looked into it and found out that it's a story that I think I would really, really like. And the series is complete. So that makes me happy. There's no fear of it never ending or never finishing. So I put it on the list because I want to give it a shot. And that's The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. It's the first installment in the Wheel of Time series. And I'm excited about it. I don't want to say I don't read a lot of high fantasy, but it is a genre that I'm starting to really enjoy. In the past, I have not read a lot of it, but I'm starting to really get into it and enjoy the book aspect because I've enjoyed fantasy style movies that are based off of all these books. I enjoy all that stuff, but I've never been appreciative of the literature behind it. And as I get older and the more I read, I'm becoming more and more fascinated with high fantasy novels. And apparently this is like the granddaddy of fantasy, what I've been told. So I want to give it a shot. And it is the first book in like a 10 book series. Is it 10? I'm not quite sure. No. Hold on. Yeah, maybe it's 10. Maybe. But yeah, so I'm excited. I want to give it a try. Wish me luck. The next book on my list is actually a reread for me. And it is Diana Gabaldon's Outlander. I wanted to put this book on my list because one second. I'm filming on my phone and it decided to be weird for a second. I wanted to put this on the list because her 9th book just came out in November of last year and I really want to read it. So I'm actually planning on rereading the entirety of the series this year. And I put this book actually on my January TBR. And I'm just going to blatantly tell you, this is my favorite book of all time. I love this story. I love everything about it. I love Jamie Fraser. He is like the measure of men for me. And so when the new book came out, it had been so long since I read the series. I'm like, I have to reread the series. So I definitely want to put this book on must read in 2022 list, TBR, whatever you want to call it. And I am proud to say that I've already started it and I finished it. So, woo, go me. I already finished it. I loved it. I'll talk more about it in my wrap up, but I already knew I was going to love it because it's literally my favorite book of all time. I love this story so much. So this one, and then I would like to read Go Tell the Bees I'm Home, which is the 9th book of this series, sometime this year. So I'd like to read the whole series and make sure I actually read that book. But I don't physically own that one yet because they've only have the hardback version out yet. And I have all of them in this floppy format. And I would just like them to match on my bookshelf. They're at the very top of this bookshelf. And I would just like them to all match and look nice and pretty and, you know, epic, because this is my favorite book of all time. So, yay. The next book on this list is this bad boy. I picked this up last year because I saw it. It looked fantastic. I read the synopsis and I was like, Vampire War? Fuck yes, sign me up. I love vampires. Out of all the paranormal creatures out there, vampires are by far my favorite. I love them. And just the synopsis of this book sounded amazing. And I had not seen anybody on BookTube talk about this book yet. It is the start of a high dark fantasy by Jay Kristoff. I've never read any Jay Kristoff before. I know his Nevernight Chronicles books were quite popular, but they were in the YA section, and I might pick them up to give them a shot, but I have heard mixed views on it. But I have not heard anything on this book. I haven't seen it anywhere on BookTube yet. And I'm like, oh my God, I get to get on the ground floor of a freaking cool ass series. Yes! So I bought it. And then I flipped through it and look at this. And this edition is fantastic. Because look at the cover. Look at the interior cover art. Oh my God. Is this not just, so pretty. So pretty. And then it's on the back. Oh God. I just fell in love with this book and I'm super, super pumped. And then I read Jay Kristoff's synopsis on Goodreads about it, and it just screamed like, don't read this for children. This is not appropriate for children. It is not. It is like Game of Thrones meeting something else in an S&M bondage club playing. You know, it's so crazy, the synopsis he gave, and I'm just like, what? Okay. That is enough for me. I will read this. Thank you. So I'm really, really pumped about this one. I really want to read this year and give it a shot. And this one clocks in at a grand total of 734 pages. So another chunker, but I'm really, really stoked about this one. I cannot wait. And the last book on this January 2022 TBR is a book that I bought years ago. Strictly bought it on a cover buy because I thought it was the prettiest cover I had ever seen in my entire life. Even prettier than Kristen Hanna's book. And that is John Gwynn's Malice. I have had this book on my TBR forever, and my husband bought me the rest of the series, as you can see right there. Bought it for me last year, and so every time I go to pick up a new book to read and he happens to be home, he says, well, why aren't you reading that one? Why aren't you reading that one? Why aren't you reading that one? And he'll point it out, or he'll make some comments like, oh, so you go buy more books and have a full series on your shelf that you like because of the covers. And he kind of makes me feel bad about it. So I put this on here so I'd finally read it. Not to mention, I've heard rave reviews about this whole series, about John Gwynn in general. I have heard he's a fantastic author, so I'm hoping that this book will be amazing and epic and everything that people say it is, because this book has way too pretty of a cover to suck. This book right here, like this cover, this is a perfect cover in my mind. It's perfect. The font, the iconography, the fade in the back is just awesome. And the whole effing series looks like this. So it's just, I really hope it lives up to its cover. Because that's a huge pet peeve of mine, is when the cover is gorgeous, but the book sucks. Because I'm just like, I just bought this for the artwork. So I'm really hoping that none of these books are like that. But I do have some chunkers on this list, and some heavy material on this list, but I'm super, super pumped about them. I really hope I get to all of them, and I hope that there's a lot of 5-star reads in here, because all of these books at some point in time I have been told are 5-star by one of the booktubers that I actually watch and respect and, you know, follow on a regular basis. So I'm really, really pumped. I think it's going to be a good year for reading, and I've already read my favorite book. I already started, so I feel really good about myself. I wanted to pick 12 for like one book a month, but then I was like, no, I'm going to really fine tune and bring it down to the ones I really, really want to read. And I really want to read every single one of these books and find out what they're about. And, you know, just finally be able to say, I finally read it. So it'll stop glaring at me. So let me see if I can do the cool little lift thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because these are some big ass books. Let's try this. There we go. And then we got this. Let's see if I can get this all in the same frame. I probably can't. Whoa, there we go. There is, I'm going to use my knee. There we go. This is my 2022 TBR. Isn't it pretty? Minus the one book, Go Tell the Bees I'm Home, which I still have to purchase, but I want the right edition. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys all soon for another one. Probably going to be my wrap up or my book haul for January, which, spoiler alert, there's a few books on here that are part of that haul, but I'm not going to tell you just yet. This is ridiculously heavy. So have a good one. Stay safe, guys, and I will see you all soon with the next video. Bye.